Welcome to the Genesis of the Doctor podcast, where we're taking a journey through the time and space of the history of Doctor Who. I'm Joy.
And I'm Tris.
And for today's episode, we're watching the third and fourth serials of Season 14 with The Deadly Assassin and The Face of Evil. The Deadly Assassin was interesting because it's basically just, like, Time Lord Society. It all started here.
Yeah,
the foundation.
this was fascinating, seeing how much of what we know about the Time Lords originating from this story specifically.
Yeah. Apparently it was kind of controversial at the time because people didn't like how they changed Time Lords. how
I
little
can
Doctor Who
understand that.
fans have changed. People still get upset about that stuff these days.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it was a fun story. I liked it.
There was a lot of really good aspects to the story, yeah.
Yeah, the Master is definitely very odd in this story, but it's like purposefully odd for the Master because he's unhinged because he just wants to survive. So he acts a bit differently.
It's definitely a different take on the Master. Not just because it's not Roger Delgado, but like the whole way they depicted the Master, he's just very different because of it.
Yeah.
I think one big thing that I have that I want to point out is I know we had mentioned last time the Time Lord who held the Second Doctor's trial is back in this.
Yeah.
Now is Goth.
Yeah.
And we probably talked about it back then. I hadn't pieced together that he's actually been in quite a few stories.
Yeah.
A lot more than just those. I recognized him immediately and probably the most as Taron from Planet of the Daleks.
Yeah.
So I had trouble with it the whole time because I just kept picturing like, damn, how did Taron end up in this position?
Yeah, and he was in The Mind Robber as well. He was I forget what the character's name is, but he was one of the
Gulliver from Gulliver's Travels.
Yeah, Gulliver.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's kind of like the expanded universe has like some of it has said that Goth is the same Time Lord as the Trial, and others have said he's not the same Time Lord. He just looks the same. But I think it's kind of interesting to look at it from the perspective that it is the same one.
Yeah,
Where,
I agree.
like when he's first told about the Doctor being there, he knows who the Doctor is because obviously he was at his trial, but he just doesn't want to tell anybody about it because he's doing something behind the scenes.
Yeah. No, it's far more interesting for his character to assume it is indeed the same one because it's also kind of a almost like full circle thing of, putting the Doctor on trial for making sure, this is what happens when you get involved way back when, and now he's someone who's involved and has to face off against the Doctor, something he heard stories about, years ago.
Yeah. And it's funny because like he does the Doctor's trial again. But this time the Doctor's just not paying attention at all. I did find it very funny how the Doctor just prevents getting executed by just running for president.
Yeah, and then it didn't go anywhere, and I find that very funny because I could have sworn he's been president before in the classics. Like, I'm pretty sure they mentioned that in Modern Who that technically he has been president before. So I thought this was going to be it, but no, technically not.
Yeah, I mean technically, like the other candidate died, so technically,
By
I
default.
think when he comes back to Gallifrey next time, he just says that like, well, I won an election. So I think this does come back next time. He shows up on Gallifrey. So that would explain.
That's funny.
Yeah.
Of course,
but he did technically win.
Yeah, he did technically win, I guess. They just didn't really address it much. They just kind of made him leave.
Yep.
We also had Spandrel was previously Jaeger in the Mutants. Another like very recognizable face here.
Yeah. Spandrel was a great character. I liked him.
I really liked it because I thought he was going to be far more antagonistic at first. They really did a nice switch with that. Because earlier on, the way they play him at the start, you think he's going to be like the main force against the Doctor.
Yeah,
but then he actually ends up being the one to really side with them. Yeah.
Yeah. quickly becomes an ally. I loved how, like, when the guard's trying to mess with the computer, he just no hesitation shoots him. Just pulls out a gun and shoots them. Stop that. I told you to stop it. It's like 3 times.
It was kind of silly how quick he was to do that, but that was also a good moment because I think that was one of those. It's very telling that there really is indeed a big bad scheme going on here.
Yeah.
If this person's trying to kill the doctor, this random person, like, okay.
Yeah.
This though they don't say it, this certainly helps in the doctor's favor.
Yeah.
I do want to talk about that though. The whole mind battle sequence, I guess we could put it. Everything between the Doctor versus Goth in this dreamscape, essentially. What a fascinating and very long sequence.
Yeah. I was not expecting it to be like 2 episodes long, but it lasted a long time.
Yeah, I do think it got a little lost in the weeds because of how long it was.
Yeah.
Like, it had a lot of really great ideas, and I like that they did it, but I do think it could have been brought down to, like, half of one episode. I think the amount of time they spent on it made it feel a little too aimless, and more like they just wanted to film a bunch of outdoor scenes.
Yeah. It's especially funny how, like, when they first go into the Matrix, it's like a fever dream, and there's, like,
Yeah.
you have a weird guy on a train, you have a weird doctor, you have a samurai, and then it just shifts into...
The clown?
Yeah. And then it just becomes a lot more normal, and then it's just a hunter chasing the doctor.
Yeah, that's why I'm a little iffy on it, because I don't feel... I know the point of it was that it was meant to be, like, weird and nonsensical, and trying to make sense of it, and the amount of control the doctor can exercise to do so, but I'm not really a fan of how aimless so much of that felt.
Yeah. It just took up a lot of time, and it wasn't really doing all that much.
Mm-hmm.
I did find it a little funny, though, that you can kind of start to realize that it is Goss just because the guy's voice is so familiar.
Yeah, he has such a distinct voice. That it was, yeah, that's exactly how I realized it was him, because of his voice. I was like, wait a second.
Yeah. Such an easy to recognize voice. He kind of tries to mask it a little bit, but it doesn't work.
He tries a little bit, but I think it is kind of a point that by the time the doctor learns who he is, you're supposed to have figured it out at that point, because it does feel like he slowly masks it less and less as time goes on, because he's dealt with more and more as it went on.
Yeah. And there's also just that, like, the hypnotized guard is Chancellor Goss' personal guard, so it's like, who would be in the machine if his guard was there?
Yep, exactly. The other big thing I have written down from all this is actually about the Time Lords is I wonder why there was, like, no talk of regeneration. Like, the entire story. Like, barely.
Yeah. There was just, like, the one offline.
Yeah.
Like one mention that, like, you only get 12 of them, and that's about all they talk about.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like, I'm surprised the only thing that gets mentioned is the establishment of, there's only 12 regenerations. But they don't... Not a single person killed, quote-unquote, in this story is ever talked about in terms of regeneration or why they can't regenerate, why they actually are dead. Like, it's kind of weird to me that for what's supposed to be Time Lord society, one of the biggest aspects of the Time Lords, they only very loosely touch upon.
Yeah. I guess just every single person that was getting killed here was on their last regeneration, and they just don't mention it.
Strangely convenient.
Yep. Well, I guess, like, the president, it would make sense, because he was retiring, so it would make sense he would be on his final.
Yeah, that does make sense.
I guess Goss is just also coincidentally on his last one.
And I presume the reason why the Master is the way he was, yes, because he's also on his last one, or technically is in this weird state after his last one.
Yeah. Like, that's why he's there, because he wants to get more regeneration energy.
Yep. But then, but that would apply, like, every guard that gets killed, like, every person that gets killed in this is on their last regeneration. At least with Goth, you could make some sort of argument that, like, the way he was hooked up to the Panopticon, the Matrix, like, it's that's what killed him, and that
Yeah.
won't allow for regeneration, dying that way, something like that. You could have like had some way to go about it like that, but and that's why it's so dangerous for the Doctor too. But they just they don't. And my problem with that is it makes it feel it puts them in this weird position where it feels like the Doctor and the Master are like super special,
Yeah.
where like they can get away because they can regenerate, but oh no, the Master can't regenerate this time. He's on his last regeneration or something along those lines. But they're just casually killing off a bunch of other characters and not addressing regeneration. So that's like a big thing I have with this story. That for all these deaths, for all these things that are happening, regeneration should have come up a lot more than it did, and I'm disappointed that it didn't.
Yeah. Like there's also Runcible who gets shot, or
Mm-hmm.
like I guess he like hit by a spear, and like it would have been interesting just to have him regenerate, because like he's he's doing the news and everything, and he seems pretty
Yeah.
young. He
Yeah.
probably hasn't been through 12 regenerations already.
No, exactly. And it's so strange that like they don't even address it.
Yeah.
Like you could have, I'm sure if there was anyone that would have a way to kill a Time Lord that would not allow for regeneration, it would be the Master.
Yeah.
But they don't even like have commentary on it. Like I would have loved to have like Spandrel being like, why didn't they just regenerate? Are they stupid? Are they unable to? Like what happened? Why can't they regenerate? And someone like Engin or someone being like, oh well, there was a type of poison on this, or this weapon was designed specifically to kill Time Lords. Like it's something like that, you know? Like
Yeah.
the lack of any of that, and how everyone we're dealing with in this story for the most part, in terms of like the characters that are not just there to die, are like high-ranking Gallifreyan officials.
Yeah.
So they should know these things. They should be questioning these things. They're like levels of leadership or like high-level Time Lords, but I don't know.
Now that I'm thinking about it, there is the funny point that like the master pretends to die so he can be sent to the morgue next to the president,
Yeah.
and then like there's no other bodies there. It's just the two of them. But like
Yeah.
a lot of people have been dying, so there would be more there.
I think there was one other one, but there still should have been more.
Yeah.
It's very strange.
I did like how like they don't tell you that it's the master until they find the camera technician inside of the camera.
Yeah,
I love
that's
that
how
little.
you know.
It's like, oh, it's the tissue compression. I've seen this before.
Yeah, I did really like that. I thought that was a great touch and a great way to reveal who it was that we were dealing with here.
Yeah. Obviously, everybody went in. Like nowadays, everybody went into it knowing it's the master, but it's a fun way to reveal it.
Mm-hmm. It really is. It really is. Because the tissue compression really is like such a cool thing that like only he has ever done. And that
Yeah.
one makes sense as a way to kill a Time One and not have them regenerate.
Yeah, it wouldn't really help if they're tiny. This is also when we first get like the fancy Time Lord clothes that we now
True.
know. I found it very funny when like the Doctor puts on a gown to sneak in, but he just like leaves his clothes outside in the museum. Like just put them in the TARDIS, buddy.
Yeah, some strange little funny things go on in this story. I think it's also fascinating that majority of the Time Lords that we encounter are like old, and the Doctor like deals with the fact that they're old, they're a little hard of hearing or dealing with some memory problems. Like that was kind of a big part of the story that almost every other
Yeah.
Time Lord dealt with is old. And I wonder how intentional that was.
Well, I know that the intention behind the story was that they kind of wanted to make Time Lords boring, just because they wanted to explain why the Doctor left.
Yeah, that checks
So-
out.
You make them all old and boring bureaucrats and everything, and then that explains why, like, the Doctor and the Master would have left, because it's such a boring place.
Yeah, that actually really checks out.
Yeah. Because before this, Time Lords were always portrayed as, like, gods and stuff, and then they just wanted to be like, well, I mean, what we've seen of them so far doesn't really explain why they have people running away so much.
That's true.
And there was also a very big issue of the time of how violent the story gets, where this story's kind of the reason why Philip Hinchcliffe was fired by the end of the season. It's specifically the cliffhanger of episode 3 when the Doctor is being drowned was very heavily criticized because it scared a lot of children.
Yeah, I could fully understand that. I mean, the story is called The Deadly Assassin, but yeah, there's a lot of death or violent things in this story, like a lot more than usual in terms of how they're depicted.
Yeah, and specifically ending an episode with the Doctor almost drowning is that was a big deal at the time, and they didn't like that. So at the end of the season, Philip Hinchcliffe, the BBC just tells him like, "Hey, we have a new show for you," and then he's confused because he hadn't left Doctor Who yet, and they're like, "Nope, we have a new show for you."
Crazy. They're like, "Nope, you are leaving now."
Yep.
Crazy.
And apparently the reason why the Master is like burned like this is because they didn't really want to have a fully fleshed out Master, just in case, they left and then somebody else was having to come in. They wanted to like let them come up with their own Master, sort of thing.
I see.
So that's why he's like in an in-between state, essentially. It's just because like they don't want to fully flesh out what this incarnation of the Master is like, just in case the next writer wants to do something different with the Master. Apparently, the original intention though was that he did succeed in getting more regeneration energy at the end, but then the next producer that comes in, or well, I think it's like 2 or 3 producers by the time he comes back, but then that person didn't know that was the intention, so he will still be like this when we see him next.
Oh, okay.
And technically, he doesn't get more regenerations until Modern Who, because in Classic Who, he's always just possessing people's bodies.
Yeah, I was gonna say he just body hops, doesn't he? Yeah.
Yeah. He doesn't get a regeneration cycle until when the War Master mentions that he was brought back from the dead.
Yeah,
by
that
Time Lords. There were
very,
very good one-off lines in this too. Like I loved how, like at the end with Barusa, it's if heroes don't exist, it is necessary to invent them.
That was fascinating, actually.
Yeah. I also liked the no answer to a straight question. Typical politician.
Typical politician.
Just died. And he says it right after Goth died before him. It's like, Jesus, that's dark, Doctor.
Yeah. I do think Barusa was also a great character. How we learn, that was like the Doctor's teacher or something along those lines. Like they had some sort of relationship earlier on. They knew each other. I think that was actually pretty great too, seeing that little bit of banter there where great work to the Doctor, like top notes or something, top marks, and it's just like, oh wow.
Barusa is a character that comes back, I think, when we come back to Gallifrey a few more times. I think he's just a common person to be on Gallifrey when we get back there. It's funny seeing like all these people that the Doctor has like a personal connection with. Like, Runcible was his old classmate. Barusa was his teacher. Obviously, we don't get like any of that these days.
Yeah. It's a bit
other
of a shame,
than the Master,
because they're all gone. But
yeah.
I mean, time travel. We could always use that as a way to have more Time Lords. From when they were. I mean, as we have literally seen in Jodie's era, where they're Gallifreyans, but. Time travel allows for that sort of thing. I'm surprised we haven't done it more.
Yeah, they make a brief mention of the Shobogans in this story, too. And
they do.
At this point in time, it's not necessarily super clear that they're, like, don't have regenerations and they're, like, a different, sort of a different species than Time Lords. But obviously, eventually that's what it is established, is that, if you're given a regeneration, then you become a Time Lord. But only some people were given it.
It's interesting how loosely they go into it, and how there's a bunch of different like factions of Time Lords too. It was also kind of fascinating here how there's a bunch of different ones, and they're all like kind of competing to figure out which one's going to become the next president, and like the president should try to unify the different clans. Like it's actually really interesting, and they don't really heavily go into it either.
Yeah. It was also a bit funny that, like, Goss is the only one running for president, but he wasn't the one that was going to be the president by choice. Which is,
Right.
so, like, why is the other person not running? I guess
Well, they
maybe they
don't
didn't
know.
know they were going to be the choice.
Yeah.
But yeah. I kind of liked how it's just, like, the Time Lords are just, like, wealthy bureaucrats. And they're just so boring as people.
I agree. But no, despite the criticisms I mentioned, I actually really enjoyed the story. It was one that like kept me hooked all the way through. I watched the whole thing in one sitting.
Yeah.
There was a lot of really good moments throughout the story, and it was a really solid one, being our first Fourth Doctor story where he doesn't have a companion.
Yeah. They did also mention Urtron energy here for the first time as well,
Yes,
which comes back. It's mentioned
quite
later.
a bit.
The Doctor wins because he's traveled so much in time that he has so much Urtron energy in him. That's why he can survive in the Matrix better.
That's fun.
But yeah, I liked the story. It was a great time.
Yeah, it was good fun.
Our next story is The Face of Evil. I think I like The Deadly Assassin more, but I did also like The Face of Evil.
I agree. I think I preferred the previous story a little bit more, but there was a lot of really cool ideas with this one. Like, I love the reveal that Zoanon is based on the Doctor, and the
Yeah.
way they play into that a lot more of he believes he is the Doctor and has like the Doctor's personality, and it allowed us to have a look into a somewhat villainous depiction of Tom Baker. It was really cool, actually.
Yeah. Apparently, in the novelization, it establishes that the Doctor came here in the middle of Robot. So the reason why the robot, or the reason why, like, the computer is so insane is because it's post-regeneration trauma Doctor that imprinted on it. So it's like,
Oh.
it's when the Doctor's not really in the best place mentally, is when he imprinted, which is why it went so crazy. So
That's
that
actually
adds an
really
extra detail
interesting.
to it.
Yeah.
Because just like during Robot, just like one of the nights, like they leave him to sleep in his lab, and then I guess he just like hopped into the TARDIS and did this, and then came back, and that's what the novelization says. So it's like fresh fourth Doctor that did it all. Adds an extra element to it. That's interesting. But yeah, Zoanon was great when we started getting more with Tom Baker playing it.
Yeah. Zoanon was probably one of the coolest parts of this whole story. I think most of the rest of the cast, like the characters were designed to be very annoying,
Yeah.
but that doesn't help. They are very annoying to deal with.
Yeah.
They're very frustrating.
Pretty much only Leela is really all that great.
Yeah, and
Not
that's
really
kind
any
of
other
the,
characters.
the point of it too, that she's different from the rest of them. I actually really like the dynamic between the Doctor and Leela already, which
Yeah.
is good. I like how open-minded she is to learning from him.
Yeah. You would think they would try to do a bit more of her not understanding technology, but then she just very quickly starts to get it once the Doctor explains things to her, which is nice.
I like how it's kind of a case of she accepts that she doesn't understand it and just yields to his understanding because she could tell he understands it.
Yeah.
So I'm just going to call it what he calls it because he clearly knows what he's talking about, kind of thing.
Yeah. Yeah, and I liked like the way that they slowly reveal what's going on this planet as well. Like when they're banging the gong, you can see Survey Team 6 written on it,
Yep.
which is interesting. You note that's like Survey Team 17, and then the Doctor specifically says that later.
Yeah, the way the seeds are kind of planted throughout to try to get you to figure it out alongside the Doctor is actually really cool.
Yeah.
Like how the one that like kept interesting me is like all the bits that Neva has, all like the
Yeah.
tech and like the torn up pieces of like the spacesuit that he wears. Fascinating.
Yeah. They want to slowly tell you that something's going on here, but then they wait to actually tell you what happened.
Neva actually is one I do want to talk about because I do have here. I feel like I missed something because I don't really understand why Neva turned against Zoannon in the end.
Yeah, it definitely came out of nowhere a little bit.
Like, I thought the point was it felt like what they were building up to was he's so devoted, but he also sees the doctor looks just like him now, that he's also willing to fully trust the doctor based on that alone after so long, after defying him for so long. I loved the
Yeah.
moment when when you learn he knew it was the doctor speaking to him and not Zoannon.
Yeah, that bit was good.
That bit was really good. Um, but I don't understand his actions once he entered the ship and fought back against Zoannon. I don't really understand why that played out the way it did. That felt very random.
Yeah. Because, like, he was still listening for Zoe when the doctor was talking to him, and then the next time we see him, he's saying, like, I want to kill Zoe. So it kind of comes out of nowhere.
Like, at first, I thought it was, this will free you, but then he yells, die, Zoannon. I'm like, why? Like, where did this come from?
Yeah, because when they're in the caves, he says, like, Zoannon is our enemy and betrayed us, but, like, I don't know where that betrayal happened.
Mm-hmm.
Where he thinks it happened. Like, I guess the doctor was trying to explain to them that, like, earlier that Zoannon was betraying them, but then they didn't listen to him, so it's...
That's the thing. Like, the seeds were planted. Technically, he's not wrong. It is all Zoannon's fault, but his character doesn't feel like he actually ever came to that conclusion. He says it at one point and then goes against it later. So, like, he's very inconsistent. I think he's a pretty good character overall. Definitely one of the more frustrating ones, but I don't understand that inconsistency in, like, the last episode.
Yeah. It's definitely very weird.
I did love the moment, though, when they have the doctor captured and he's, like, shaking the tech around the doctor.
Yeah.
That was such a funny scene.
Yeah. He was a great comedic relief at times.
Yeah. Definitely not the kind of character you expected him to be either, because
Yeah.
the first couple episodes, he comes across like someone who's using the word of a god to be the true leader, or to, like, take control of the colony, basically.
He's a lot like the guy
tribe.
from Mask of Mandragora.
Yeah.
Very
Yeah.
similar.
He comes across like that, but not
Yeah.
actually.
Then you find out, like, no, he actually does believe it.
Mm-hmm.
I did also like the scene when, like, the doctor gets explained what the Horda can do, and then a guy slaps Leela and just kicks one at him. It's like, I mean, it might kill him, but, he slapped her, so
Yeah.
he deserves it. I did also like how Leela's just kind of, like, casually killing people, and the doctor has to tell her to stop it. Stop using the Janus thorns on everyone. It's fascinating how she's just, like, so casually violent, and the doctor has to try to teach her to stop being so violent.
And I do like how he's not so terribly patronizing about it the whole time either. Like, he
Yeah.
understands the life they're living is why she's like this, but is
Yeah.
trying to teach her there's better ways, as opposed to what we've had in, like, modern ones where it's like, how dare you, why would you do this kind of thing, which I guess makes sense in
Yeah.
the modern era where it's, post Time War Doctor. But
Yeah.
I like how he is here. Oh, he's just like, there's other ways. You don't have to do that.
Yeah. And I know that kind of just is like a character trait of hers while she's
Yeah.
the doctor's companion. So it's
Which makes sense.
gonna build off of it that, like, the doctor's gonna try to teach her non-violent ways to deal with things.
and of course she is companion not by his choice. She forced
Yeah.
herself into that TARDIS.
I love that scene where she just, like, jumps on the TARDIS and he's, get out of there! And then she turns it on. No!
Don't touch that! As it starts to dematerialize.
Yeah. And I kind of like how the implication is that, like, at the start he says, like, this isn't Hyde Park, so he was trying to get back to Earth. So maybe he
Yeah.
was trying to get back to Sarah Jane and then
He might have.
got sidetracked here. And then now Leela's there, so it's like, oh, well, I guess now I have a new companion. I did also like him talking to the camera at the start as well. It's just funny.
That was good.
I guess technically both stories started with that because we didn't mention, but like the narration at the start of Deadly Assassin was interesting as well, where the Doctor just
That's true.
does narration, and then here now he's just directly turning to the camera and talking to us because he doesn't have a companion to talk to.
Which we've seen in Modern Era too. It's the Doctor. Part of why the Doctor likes having a companion is so he has someone to talk to, because otherwise he talks to himself.
Yeah, he did a lot of talking to himself these last two series. Well, I mean, mostly in the Deadly Assassin he was talking to himself, but a little bit here too. I did also find it funny in Deadly Assassin how, like, the Doctor doesn't have a scarf, and this is, like, one of the very few times where you don't see him with a scarf.
Mm-hmm. For, like, the whole story, too.
Yeah. I also loved when Leela and the Doctor meet, and then the Doctor offers her a jelly baby, and she's just like, it's true then. The evil one does eat babies.
The evil one does eat babies.
And then the Doctor threatens to kill a man with a deadly jelly baby.
I do love that. That was so good. So keep back or I'll kill this man with this deadly jelly baby.
Apparently in the script it was originally that he was going to threaten them with a knife, and then the Tom Baker was like, well, the Doctor wasn't do that, so I'm just going to use a jelly baby instead.
It's a lot more fun this way.
Yeah.
And we've seen, it definitely fits the kind of energy that we've seen from the Doctor, even in the modern era. So it feels like they try to play off of this idea of the Doctor not using weapons, but people who don't know that, you know, he gets to play off as something that turns out, oh, it's a deadly weapon. You know, the TARDIS self-destruct. Oh, that's a jammy dodger. Or, you know, this explosive device. Oh, that's a burger.
Or the 12th Doctor and his spoon.
Yeah.
Fights Robin Hood.
It's just very fun.
Yeah.
And I think this clearly started that.
Yeah. There's definitely a lot to love about Tom Baker's performance in these last two stories, so.
That really has me relieved, because I know we were talking earlier on about how a lot of the whimsy he had in his first season feels like it's gone, and he just feels like angry the whole time. He feels like he's not having that whimsy anymore. But these two definitely had it back quite a bit.
He did a great job here.
Mm-hmm. These were both very fun stories, and his performance was definitely like the highlight of them. And I think that's such a relief.
I also want to talk about the scene. I really like the scene where he's talking about like the very powerful and the very stupid both have something in common, which is that they both refuse to alter their views, and they always alter the facts, which is uncomfortable when you're the facts that requires altering. It's like, damn, you just explained like the political state of the world in 2026, Doctor.
Yeah.
Still like that, unfortunately.
It's very accurate.
And then Leela plays the right-wing grifter, where she tries to shoot him for daring to say it.
Mm-hmm. Pretty much.
It's also very funny at the end when they're like, you know, we need to choose a leader. Doctor, you want to help us? He's like, that's not my problem. And then he runs away.
That's not my problem. And then he goes to leave, but he leaves it in a way where Leela is clearly the one set up to become the leader, but she doesn't want it.
Yeah, and then she realizes that he left, so she just runs off again after him. And then I don't think she ever comes back to this planet, so I guess they're just like, what happened?
Oh, that's fun. Yeah, I don't know how she ends, so that's kind of funny. We'll find that out, of course. But I do love the conversation they had before getting in the TARDIS as well, where it was like, oh, you know, take me with you. Why? Well, you like me, don't you? He's like, do I? I guess I do.
Yeah. He's
clearly not. I can't just cart you around the universe because of that. Oh, Doctor, that's never stopped you.
Yeah. Can't just invite everybody I like onto the TARDIS. I mean, you kind of do, Doctor.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's fascinating that you can look at it from the perspective that like he is wanting to go back to see Sarah Jane, and then it ends up not happening. I guess maybe once he's traveling with Leela for a bit, he just realizes that like maybe it's best to just let her stay behind.
Yeah, let her live her life.
I also loved when the politicians are arguing and the Doctor's just saying like tennis terminology. It's 15 love, 15 all, game, set, and match.
Yeah.
He's just joking around about it.
Very, very funny seeing that in the week Mario Tennis Fever came out.
Yeah.
I was like, wow, topical.
Yep.
No, he definitely has the quirkiness back. Because it honestly was gone for quite a few stories. We talked about it in previous episodes, but I am really glad that it's back because
Yeah,
it made these two stories a lot more charming. Um,
yeah,
if he was just the frustrated doctor like he has been in the past few stories, I think these would have been a lot worse.
yeah. I do find it a little weird that like so many of these stories have all been about like religion, essentially.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's
There
been a
was there's some commentary going
you
on.
know
It seems.
Mask of Mandragora and the Face of Evil, and
Mm-hmm.
also like Pyramid of Mars. It's all about like cults and stuff.
Yeah.
It's a bit fascinating that they just keep doing the same idea there. That a religion is going too far. But yeah, I liked both these stories. I would say,
Yeah. I think these were both very fun.
like I mentioned last time, I recently listened to a Big Finish audio, which is just the Face of Evil, but the Master was there instead, which was
Interesting.
it. Yeah, I mean basically it's the same plot, but he was doing it intentionally. It's like the Zawainan stuff was all the Master's plan, basically.
I see.
They also had a line where he offers Leela an acid drop instead, and then she's like, "The evil one does eat acid,
Uh, all
or
right.
drink acid or something." So it's just a different
That's quite
a
silly.
different candy. But yeah, I didn't have much else written down about these.
Yeah, I think that covers everything from my end as well.
There has been a bit of news recently that Big Finish has renewed their license with Doctor Who, so we're going to get Big Finish stories until at least 2035, which is
Woo, 10
nice.
more years, a big finish.
That means that at some point we got to get 15th Doctor stories in there.
Please. I mean, 13 has been very good from what I've heard and happened fairly quickly compared to some other
Yeah.
doctors. So I hope 15 happens soon.
Putting on my little tinfoil hat, I'm thinking that maybe the reason why Big Finish was given the 15th Doctor stories already, because they're doing a unit one with them, is maybe because Shudi was like saying, hey, I would love to do them. Maybe he was talking to them.
I would hope so. I would hope so. As a way to be able to still keep playing the Doctor even after regenerating.
Yeah. Because he recently signed up. We got news that like he's doing a TV show in Great Britain now, so he's not leaving Great Britain yet.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
maybe they'll try to get him in there at some point. And then they did also announce that they have a story coming out with the Ronnie in it, and Big Finish was having issues with getting the rights to the Ronnie for like the last 10 years. So
Oh, wow.
it's
That's a
I
big
guess
deal then.
I guess because the TV show got it, then they were able to get the rights back.
Mm-hmm.
Because what happened was the creators of the Ronnie passed away, and then they were having difficulties getting the rights again after they passed away.
I see.
So now that the TV show got permission for it, I guess they could contact the people that own the rights now easier.
That makes sense. Okay.
Big Finish also announced they're doing a James Bond show now, which is odd. Like I guess
Huh.
they're just getting like literally everything in Great Britain.
Good for them, I guess. That's
They're
kind of fun.
doing adaptations of like there are books where James Bond is like a teenager, and they're doing
Mm-hmm.
adaptations of that now with Big Finish. Just funny.
In terms of other news and points of interest, as of recording very recently was Gallifrey 1, like the big Doctor Who convention in, I think, LA, or like
Yeah.
somewhere out on the West Coast. And Pete Mackay was there, who was basically the showrunner for War Between Land and the Sea, and has written a bunch of Doctor Who stories in modern era. Um, he was directly asked if he's going to be the next showrunner after RTD. And rather than saying no, what he very specifically said was can't say anything about that. he basically threw his hands up and he's like, that's not for me to decide. But he's also talked about how he wants to keep writing for Doctor Who. It's one of his favorite things. He's a writer because of it.
Yeah.
And he has so many ideas that he refuses to talk about at conventions in case he ever gets the opportunity to do them.
Yeah. I know there have been rumors about somebody else being the possible next showrunner, but I don't really pay attention much to rumors these days.
Yeah, it's hard to say because I feel like there's just a new rumor every week now, and
Yeah,
who
because
knows what's really going on. But I mean,
before we had
Doctor
the
Who's
news,
gonna end up going to YouTube or Netflix or somewhere. Who knows?
yeah, before we had the news about like the Disney deal falling through, everyone was saying like all the rumors are saying like that they're already talking to HBO Max or Paramount or Netflix, and then like it seems like they weren't ever doing those conversations
Yeah.
until maybe now. So I'm just like, I think the rumor mill's just kind of trying to say like whatever they can come up with that people will
Yeah.
believe.
Yeah, it really seems like it.
And I'm conflicted. Like I kind of want Russell to just do another season. Like I haven't
Yeah.
been the biggest fan of these last two seasons, but I want him to finish his idea at least. So I kind of want him
Yeah,
to do
same.
another season right now. Because he was clearly
Same.
planning at least a 3-season arc, and I don't think he's going to finish his entire arc in one Christmas special. So
No. I'm really hoping he does a Christmas special and then he does one more season to kind of like wrap it all up, but we'll have to see what the plan is. I think it's
Yeah.
really unfortunate too because like his hopes and plans for coming back was to like really make it almost like a Marvel thing, like tons of spin-off, tons of potential, a lot going on, and I feel like the cards were just never there for him to fully do it. And I feel a
Yeah.
little sad about that because I think if he was able to actualize his entire plan and idea, I think everything would have turned out a lot better. But,
Yeah. Because even look at his first era, and like he was doing like 4-season-long stories.
Yep.
There were mentions of Harold Saxon in like season 2.
Yep.
It was already starting to work out there. And then now we have the boss that we don't know who the boss is. And
Are we ever gonna figure out who the boss is? Is that what this next special is gonna be?
yeah, who knows? But yeah. If you'd like to join us on our journey here through Classic Who, we have a Patreon where for just $1 a month you can get access to our Discord and early access to episodes. And for $5 you can watch live as we record. We'll have a live text chat that we'll chat with, and you can tell us about how you're still upset that the Deadly Assassin retconned stuff about the Time Lords. But for our next episode, we are going to finish up Season 14 with The Robots of Death, which is a 4-parter, and The Talons of Wang Chiang. I don't know how you pronounce that entirely, but that's a 6-parter. I don't know much about The Robots of Death, but I know Talons is a very complicated story in that it's considered one of the most beloved serials of the classic run, but it's also pretty racist. So
Yeah, I got that impression from what little bits I know about it.
it's a very complicated story in that people really love it, but there's a big asterisk connected to it. In that it's there's white people playing Chinese characters, and the Chinese characters are not written the nicest way.
Yeah, this will be something. It's a period
Yeah.
piece.
Yeah, it's definitely not a story they would make in the modern day, because it it would not be written the way that it was. But yeah, I know Russell T Davies has said that like some of the dialogue in that story is like some of his favorite dialogue ever, and like I think specifically episode 1, he said like some of the best dialogue ever written in sci-fi.
Probably some really good moments, unfortunately tainted by some pretty racist problems.
Yeah, I've heard that like the Chinese characters in it are just like written as like predators basically, where I think like the premise is that they're kidnapping a bunch of young women, so it's it's not great.
Not great, no.
Yeah, I guess we'll have a lot to talk about next time, probably.
Sounds like it.
So, as a reminder, make sure to watch The Robots of Death and The Talons of Wang Chiang before our next episode. You can find them on BBC iPlayer or the Doctor Who Classic YouTube channel. Luckily, I noticed that Talons of Wang Chiang was posted on the Doctor Who YouTube channel 2 days ago, so
Perfect.
they are both on there now.
Just in time.
Last
for
time
us.
we were talking, it wasn't on there, but it is on there now. So we're good on that channel until season 18 now. So
Nice.
it works out well if you're in America. And if you support us on Patreon for just $1 a month, you get access to our Discord, as well as early access episodes. I've been Joy. You can find me on social media at Joy Content.
And I've been Triss. You can find me at ToonTriss.
And we'll see you next time. Bye.
Bye.